Right now we are going to learn how to create projects in IntelliJ and how to manage them. If it is the first time you open IntelliJ, this is the splash screen you are going to see. You just have to hit on Create New Project. Here we are going to use Maven as our project automation tool, and we are going to use the default archetype. Just click Next. Here you can type whatever string you want within Maven rules in order to identify your project. This is the one I'm going to use, but you can use whichever one you want. Here, the project name is the name IntelliJ is going to use in order to manage your project, and the location is the place where all your files are going to be saved. Just click Finish and the project is going to be created. This pop-up is only shown when you are using Maven. For now, we are going to click on Enable Auto Import because it is not important right now. In the left part, we have our project, and in order to move around, you can use the arrow keys. Just the right arrow to expand, the left arrow to collapse, and up and down for the obvious thing. It depends on which kind of directory we are in, we will have different kind of options. If we are in a Java directory, we will be able to create Java objects. In order to do that, right-click, New, and we can create Java classes or packages. For example, I'm going to create a package right now. If you are in a resources directory, you will be able to create files or directories in the same way. Just hit New Directory. When you are in a Java directory, you can also create Java objects. It doesn't matter you clicked on Java class, you can create whatever Java object from this option. We are going to create a new class just as an example. Well, don't pay attention to this pop-up here because it is related to source control and you shouldn't see it because you shouldn't have it enabled. Here we have the class we have just created and we are going to create a new file in the resources directory. Right-click, New File. As we haven't put any extension to the file, IntelliJ is asking us what the file type is. Because IntelliJ will have different rules for different types of file, like the color scheme of the text of the file. For now, we are just going to set the type text. Right now, we know how to create files and directories, but what happens if I made a mistake or I changed my mind? For example, if I wanted to set a different name for the Java file. Well, just right-click over it, go to Refactor, and here I have two options, Rename and Rename File. Rename means renaming the Java object in that file. And that has further consequences, because we are renaming the Java class, we are renaming the file, and we are renaming all references to that class. Renaming the file is just renaming the file without actually changing the contents of the file. No class renaming at all. For example, if I create a new class just to see what we just have said, called reference, and in here we are going to create a reference to my class. And right now I'm going to rename my class. Right-click, Refactor, Rename. As you can see here, we have different checkboxes to modify the behavior of the rename functionality. For example, if we want to look for the name of the class within comments and strings, or we want to rename tests, variables, or inheritors. Right now we are not going to touch them and just click Refactor. And here we are shown a message telling that the field in the class reference is going to be renamed as well. So if we are happy with it, and we are, just hit OK. So we can see here that the rename has been performed. And in addition to that, the class name has changed, and the file name has also changed. On the other hand, if I right-click, refactor, rename file, and I rename it to my class, and click refactor, only the file has changed, and as we can see here, we have a drop-down icon saying that the file name is myclass.java, but the Java class in that file is my class renamed, and that's an error in Java. And as we can see here, the reference to that class hasn't changed. We are just going to undo the change. One last thing about files is how to delete them. You just have to select it and hit the delete button. We have the option to delete it safely, meaning IntelliJ is going to look for references the same way it did before when we did the renaming, and it is going to warn us in case that class we want to delete is being used. We just hit OK, and here you can see the warning I was talking about. Well, I don't really care it is being referenced, I'm going to delete it anyway. And as we can see, the reference is no longer valid. The last thing we are going to see in this lecture is how to close and delete a project. Deleting a project is not so easy, it's something I miss in IntelliJ. Well, in order to do that, we are going to right-click over the root and hit Show in Files. So here the project directory is going to show up. We have to go to the parent directory. We are going to delete the root directory from here whenever we close the project in IntelliJ. So we go back to IntelliJ and hit File, Close Project. We are going to delete it from the splash screen by pressing the cross button. And as the last step, we delete the directory from here.